When the Creator had made all these ordinances, he remained in his own accustomed nature. And his children heard, and were obedient to their father's word. And receiving from him the immortal principle of a mortal creature, in imitation of their own Creator they borrowed portions of fire, and earth, and water, and air from the world, which were hereafter to be restored. These they took and welded them together, not with the indissoluble chains by which they were themselves bound, but with little pegs too small to be visible, making up out of all the four elements each separate body, and fastening the courses of the immortal soul in a body which was in a state of perpetual influx and afflux. Now these courses, detained as in a vast river, neither overcame nor were overcome, but were hurrying and hurried to and fro, so that the whole animal was moved and progressed, irregularly, however, and irrationally and anyhow, in all the 6 directions of motion, wandering backwards and forwards, and right and left, and up and down, and in all the 6 directions. For great as was the advancing and retiring flood which provided nourishment, the affections produced by external contact caused still greater tumult. When the body of any one met and came into collision with some external fire, or with the solid earth, or the gliding waters, or was caught in the tempest borne on the air, and the motions produced by any of these impulses were carried through the body to the soul. All such motions have consequently received the general name of sensations, which they still retain. And they did, in fact, at that time create a very great and mighty movement, uniting with the ever-flowing stream in stirring up and violently shaking the courses of the soul. They completely stopped the revolution of the same by their opposing current, and hindered it from predominating and advancing, and they so disturbed the nature of the other or diverse, that the 3 double intervals, that is, between 1, 2, 4, and 8, and the 3 triple intervals, between 1, 3, 9, and 27, together with the mean terms and connecting links, which are expressed by the ratios of 3 to 2, and 4 to 3, and of 9 to 8. These, although they cannot be wholly undone except by him who united them, were twisted by them in all sorts of ways, and the circles were broken and disordered in every possible manner, so that when they moved they were tumbling to pieces, and moved irrationally, at one time in a reverse direction, and then again obliquely, and then upside down, as you might imagine a person who is upside down and has his head leaning upon the ground and his feet up against something in the air. And when he is in such a position, both he and the spectator fancy that the right of either is his left, and the left right. If, when powerfully experiencing these and similar effects, the revolutions of the soul come in contact with some external thing, either of the class of the same or of the other, they speak of the same or of the other in a manner the very opposite of the truth, and they become false and foolish, and there is no course or revolution in them which has a guiding or directing power. And if again any sensations enter in violently from without and drag after them the whole vessel of the soul, then the courses of the soul, though they seem to conquer, are really conquered. And by reason of all these affections, the soul, when encased in a mortal body, now, as in the beginning, is at first without intelligence. But when the flood of growth and nutriment abates, and the courses of the soul, calming down, go their own way and become steadier as time goes on. Then the several circles return to their natural form, and their revolutions are corrected, and they call the same and the other by their right names, and make the possessor of them to become a rational being. And if these combine in him with any true nurture or education, he attains the fullness and health of the perfect man, and escapes the worst disease of all. But if he neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life, and returns imperfect and good for nothing to the world below. This, however, is a later stage. At present, we must treat more exactly the subject before us, which involves a preliminary inquiry into the generation of the body and its members, and as to how the soul was created. For what reason and by what providence of the gods, and holding fast to probability, we must pursue our way.